clash with California government, with one being shut down.
2,000 people caravan heading to the U.S. border.
New York City workers put on big protest against the city's vaccine mandate.
Russian President Putin blasted Western leftism.
Well, the feature story is
Thank God you are not on the Supreme Court.
Attorney General Garland was grilled at the Senate's hearing.
Thank God you are not on the Supreme Court. You should resign in disgrace, Judge.
It is unprecedented, to my knowledge, in the history of this country, and I call on you to resign.
Welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host, Wei Fang.
And I'm Kathy Zhang.
We'll talk to you about the In-N-Out restaurant in San Francisco, near where our office was. Yes, and then that was almost shut down by the city government. Okay, they said In-N-Out did not check for the vaccination proof before allowing them to dine in. All right, so after about 1 week of stop service, In-N-Out was allowed to reopen their service, but the diners cannot, dining in cannot be allowed. So people can still order. So we thought that's the end of the story, but no. Another In-N-Out restaurant in Bay Area, which is a Pleasant Hill, has now have its food service permit revoked by the county. This county is called Contra Costa County, which is a little different from San Francisco. It's about like 50 miles away. All right, so at least 2 other Bay Area locations will be the next in line if the company continues openly defying local ordinance about the checking for the vaccine for indoor dining.
Yeah, so this restaurant had been received 2 fines from the local health department, and finally it was shut down yesterday. So, but another In-N-Out, also in the East Bay, is probably also in the line of being shut down because they have also received fines already. But that's not it. Actually, in the Northern California, In-N-Out has less stores. Mm-hmm. They have more stores in Los Angeles County, in Southern California, and the Los Angeles city is actually looking into, they also will require the food services, the restaurants, to check on the vaccine passport or the proof of vaccination of the dining customers as starting November 1st. So will more In-N-Out restaurants in Los Angeles being shut down? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. We wish to bring you more good news, but this piece of news doesn't seem to be that good. For those of you, I don't know, I see Laura. Hi, Laura. I see you posted there. You're from Canada. I don't know, among our listeners who has In-N-Out around you. It's not a national chain, okay? It's not even a chain, right? It's not a franchise.
It's a not franchised store. It's all just family owned. It started in 1948.
Right.
So it's quite a story. But it looks like the owner and the chief legal officer, Arnie Wensigner, still just really not backing down. They, stood by their statement, saying that they refuse to become the vaccination police for any government, and that they fiercely disagree with any government dictate that forces a private company to discriminate against customers who choose to patronize their business. And they feel that it's a governmental overreach, which is intrusive, improper, and offensive. That's their stand.
Yeah. Okay, Kathy, I cannot help answering Jim's comment. Okay. Is that East Bay, China? We did not say that clearly. Okay, East Bay, Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. Okay, we're not talking about China. All right. So this is what happened in San Francisco Bay Area, and so yes, they are pretty strong, and they really have value, and but they're clashing with the government. We'll see what would happen. Now, unfortunately, one restaurant has lost its license, and the 2 others on the way, and we'll see what would turn out to be. Next piece of news we'll let you know is a caravan of 2,000 migrants now is pressing on towards U.S. border through Mexico. All right, so they've been on foot. They're from Middle and Central America, and then they've been actually in the southern. They push past police. Okay, over delays in getting the refugee and asylum papers at a city in the southern Mexico over the weekend. So over this year, if you see the photo is pretty scary. It's just so many people just moving towards U.S. And some of them, they were removed, and then they rejoined this caravan, and even they have to pay for the smuggler $12,000 in vain last time. I guess they paid it again. And so as of now, this year, there's been the border police has already intercepted 1.2 million migrants this year. This has detention. There are people who just smuggle through without being caught. So this is what has been happening, and for Mexico, who are supposed to intercept them, they are not quite doing that. They stop them and then have them fill the asylum application. And in just a month of September, Mexico collected 90,000 asylum application. All right, but then they just allow them to march on, so they will be soon arriving on the U.S. borders. Okay, and the next piece of news has to do with the New York workers. Okay, the New York City workers. They put on a big protest against the city's vaccine mandate past Monday. All right. So this is a little like 2 or 3 days old, but we still want you to know about this, and because it was not really quite reported. But if you see the photo, it's quite a protest. A lot of people onto it. Altogether, there are 50,000 city workers for the New York.
Yeah, and mostly like the NYPD and the city workers. It actually had like thousands, at least tens of thousands. That's what people are talking about. We can show a video from the social media.
Let's take a look. And for the. Yeah, they walk through the Brooklyn Bridge eventually, and then their goal is the City Hall, the steps of the City Hall. By this Friday, 5 p.m. Okay, if they don't got vaccination, they will be put on the unpaid leave, and eventually they could lose their job. Basically, Kathy, right? Just for journalists, for a scene like this is a must-go place.
Right, and like there are people sharing on the social media saying that CNN is kind of downplaying how many people were in the protest. Protesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and next piece of news actually is also a little old, but I think it's still warranted for me to report this to you. Why? Okay, because not many people saw the report. And I want to do a little test here. We still got, we got our audience here. Have you heard or read Russian President Putin, his speech on actually last Thursday? All right. Have you ever heard about that? And if you do, please type up there because I do want to know. And his speech is quite a shock to many people. All right, because we all see that Putin as a sort of like a dictator or the former KGB, and he carried the blood of the communist, Russian communists, and so on and so forth. But do we really understand this guy? All right. So at this very place, this is basically a discussion club, and he made this speech. I want to read some of this to you. Okay. If you have heard this. Please, type it there because I really want to know how many people have heard about that. Okay. Anyway, if you don't, let me just read it to you. You tell me whether you think it's worthwhile. This is the original word. Okay. The advocate of so-called social progress of the West believe that they are introducing humanity to some kind of a new and a better consciousness. Godspeed. hoist the flag, as we say, go right ahead. The only thing that I want to say now is that their prescriptions are not new at all. It may come as a surprise to some people, but Russia has been there already. After the 1917 revolution, the Bolshevik, relying upon the dogmas of Marx and Engels, already said they would change existing ways and customs, and not just political and economic ones, but the very notion of the human morality and the foundation of a healthy society. The destruction of age-old values, religions, and relations between people, up to and including the total rejection of the family, and we had that too. Encouragement to inform on loved ones. All this was proclaimed progress, and by the way, was widely supported around the world back then, and it was quite fashionable, same as today. By the way, the Bolsheviks were absolutely intolerant of the opinion other than theirs. That's clear warning, right? So don't think they're going to tolerate you. After their job is done, you won't be tolerated. And Putin also said this. Hear me out. He said the ways, the current ways, okay, in the West, the leftist, the liberal, the ultra-liberal, is even worse than the agitprop department of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Western culture is increasingly being dictated by aggressive dogmatism bordering on absurdity. Among the fruits of this are the denigration of tradition under the narrow rubrics of notional equality, especially in the areas of race and gender. All right. So he said a lot of things. But what I want to share with you, because I came from China, right? I think what Putin was relating to is something that I have repeatedly said on the show. Everything that we experience just sounds so all familiar to us. Been there, done that. Don't like it. Sad to see that it's happening again. Okay, so Putin is saying the same thing. Even though as a strong man, as someone who do not quite tolerate opponents very, very much, but he can say things like that. And I don't know how many Americans will hear that and take it in. But I do want to read this to you so that you know, and there are people who really understand what's going on here. So yeah, that's that. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the feature story. How about that?
Okay, so we're gonna move on to Safe Chat from YouTube, if you are on YouTube right now.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. How about that? 1, 2, 3, go.